Warmest of greetings to you, one and all. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. We are here simply to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru, help you unindoctrinate yourself. We're really not here to tell you what to think. We're really not here to tell you what to believe. We're here to make sure that you have all the information you need to formulate your own beliefs. That's really what we're here for. Believe it or not, that's what I'm here for. That's what drives me. That's the motivation. So if you ever wonder, there it is. Now you know. Today, a very interesting topic. You heard Jenny Moonstone and I broach this yesterday when she was with us. If you didn't see that program, you'll want to go back and watch it. It's always amazing when Jenny shows up. I made a Jenny Moonstone playlist. She's been here about 6 times now, so I have those all on a playlist. And we're talking tonight about the mystery of the Tuatha De Danann. Now, I know there's a lot of different people that think they know how to say that, and it's different than the way I say it. But I don't think any of us are original Gaelic-speaking Irish folks. So even though I am 100% Irish in my heritage, so let's move past what is the pronunciation and just get into the subject, if that is okay with you. We're going to be talking about, and actually Jenny Moonstone's last name is Constantine. Moonstone is, I guess, her work name. Her website is jennymoonstone.com, and she does have a special right now for her tarot readings, 25% off. So go ahead and contact Jenny today. You can schedule your reading right there online. It's very convenient. So go ahead and contact Jenny Moonstone and get your 25% discount on her reading. Jenny Moonstone will not be, unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunate, it's just the way that it is, the new co-host of the Last Stand. I'll announce who that's going to be tomorrow, and I think you're going to be very happy. I think you're going to be very excited, and I know you'll be very pleased once you do get to see the co-host in action. And it is a he, I'm sure will grow on you very quickly, because it's going to be a very, very great and a very powerful show, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the Tuatha De Danann. Tuatha De Danann. And what it really means, it's actually, it's a compound sentence. Tuatha De means the tribe of the gods. So if you just have Tuatha De and don't have the Danann on there, that means the tribe of the gods. And I tell you something, folks, I'm about this close to believing. And as I've been diving in and spent most of the day today, laid in the sun a little bit, worked out, trained, but studying this, I'm almost positive that the Tuatha De Danann are the original true gods, and that the Elohim of the Bible are a copy, a ripoff, a plagiarism of the Tuatha De Danann. Is that just because I'm Irish? Well, maybe, but it just rings so true. We will begin looking at some of those distinctions here today as we go through. But the Tuatha De means the tribe of the gods, and when you add the Danann, Tuatha De Danann, it actually means the tribe or the folk of the goddess Danu. And of course, Danu, if you start looking at Danu, who's Danu, and you start carrying it out and looking at it and carrying it down through history, Danu is, of course, an Irish goddess. She's the mother goddess of the Tuatha De Danann, of course. And you can start thinking Diana. And I really think, ladies and gentlemen, and I know we've got a long way to go to prove it, but I really think Danu, the Irish goddess Danu, may be the original sacred feminine as manifest in this dimension, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that's just my opinion. I can't prove it yet, but I'm getting closer and closer to that type of a proclamation. So the Tuatha De Danann, the folk of the goddess Danu, or the tribe of the gods, one of the problems with getting down to who they are is that most of the information we have from them comes from Romans. And of course, Romans didn't really like them that much because the Tuatha didn't really care too much about writing down who they were and what they were. They knew who they were, but the people that encountered them were the clergy of the Roman Catholic Church, were the Romans themselves. And so a lot of the stuff that we have from them comes from and through the filter of Rome, which is, part and parcel of our entire world, isn't it? But if you can get through the Romanism and try to get back to things that predate Rome, the Tuatha De Danann were considered a spiritual, supernatural race. And this is where I started on this, but they represent the pre-Christian Gaelic Ireland. Did you notice that key phrase? Pre-Christian. And the fact that they're pre-Christian, I believe that the Christianity stole the Tuatha De Danann and gave us the Elohim. And as we go through this, you're going to see a lot more parallels, and I think outright forgeries. But that's just my opinion. We'll continue to go through it. But they're a supernatural race, and they have a pantheon, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know what a pantheon is? A pantheon is like a set of gods. It's a polytheistic religion. They don't believe in one God. They believe in multiple gods and multiple goddesses. And it makes more sense to me because I am 56 years old. And one thing I know after 56 years, aside from any travesties and absurdities that we've seen recently, I never saw a man have a baby yet. I never saw a male procreate anything yet without the help of a female. It is the goddesses of this world are beautiful, lovely women that have the children. How can we have creation from a dude? We can't. That's why it makes so much more sense to me that we are the folk of the goddess. No, maybe it's not Danu, but we are, and I believe it is, we are the folk of a goddess. It only makes sense. How do we get born from a dude? We don't, dude. We get born from a goddess. Let's take just a quick segue and welcome everyone to the channel. And the reason why I do this is because the most important thing about this channel is not the guy behind the microphone. It's the people in the chat room and the 36,000 plus and growing that subscribe. Make no doubt about it. James Lancourt, Jama Barker, Tracy Dyer, the ever-present Tracy Dyer, moderator extraordinaire, friend of mine. Thank you so much. I salute you, girl. And we have None Ya Business, Mr. D, Nigel Worsley, our resident flat earth proponent that we embrace even in the midst of diversity. That's right. There's people on this channel that don't believe what I believe, and I don't believe what they believe, but we don't draw a line and draw them and cast them out. We draw a circle and bring them in. That's the way we work around here. Unity in the midst of diversity. That's the way it's supposed to be, ladies and gentlemen. Gravity Storm Deborah, Kelly Bell, Mr. D, Danny Ever, Jeff, and this is interesting as I said this, and I think it might be synchronistic, because Danny says, Mr. Jeff, I do not believe everything you YouTube about. Maybe that is the point. Make your own choices. With that, when you speak, I have to listen. Dig your talk on intention and moving mountains. Thank you, Danny, because that really is what it's all about. You come here, if you hear something that resonates with you, take it, make it a part of your life, use it to become divine, sovereign, free. If you don't hear anything that's worth it to you, well, come back 2 or 3 times and make sure that it wasn't just a bad day. But it's not, you got to believe everything. That's not what we're here for. Nigel never heard of this until yesterday. Truth Frequency News is in the house. She said it's in the house. Bernadette, Aaron, Heather Cooper, Electromagnetica testing 1, 2, 3. Is that a little joke about me yesterday getting on here and going for about 30 seconds with my mic shut off? Cosmic Cowboy, Roger Smith, Rich Fighterline, Matthias H., Lorenzo Alvara, constantly watching, Don Distoli, Cynthia Elm, George Abdunor, Robert Voplik, Karen Steele, Melissa Jane. I am Monica 57, and now I have to call you back because you did call me. You did leave a very nice message, and I will get back to you. I promise I'll call you tomorrow, and we'll set something up. Monica's going to come on and talk on the channel. Go to I am Monica 57's channel. Wonderful human being. All you have to do is watch about 3 minutes of one of her videos, and you'll be sure of that, like I was. There's a couple things I want to talk to her about. She has this idea about how it has to do with beautiful black aliens coming and landing. Just a fascinating train of thought that she has on that. Plus, she spent many years as a Jehovah's Witness, and I've always wanted and started and stopped because I didn't really feel like I had the depth and breadth of knowledge. Always wanted to talk about the life of being in the Watchtower and the psychology behind that, and then the difficulty it is to come out, because the people that are in the Watchtower have already come out of Christianity, they think. They've already come out of Babylon, they think, and then they think they're in the only place of truth, and then to come from there into another place, boy, it's just got to be, like Wayne says, it's a mental rape. It's got to be very, very hard. So I'd love to talk about that, because a week doesn't go by where I don't get 2 or 3 emails or emails or messages, comments about, I used to be a Jehovah's Witness. Can you help us with Jehovah's Witnesses? I used to preach a lot about Jehovah's Witnesses. I had a big, long, week-long talk about the witnesses and the Mormons. So looking forward to getting with I am Monica 57, Michael Engelbauer, Tracy Roberts, don't know. Benevolent High Priestess was so nice to send me some great study material. Thank you so much, High Priestess. I do appreciate very much. Allison Marie's here. Nixon 223. Andrew Caslin. Moonstone is a great last name, even if it's sort of fake, but not really fake. The artist formerly known as Jenny Moonstone, Jenny Constantine. Same thing, same girl, same lady. Melissa Jane, a girl with no names here, says she has no beliefs, just knowing, because in the middle of every belief, there is a lie. Think about it. There really is. Gravity Storm Deborah's here. Colleen's here. KC, Irish girl here. Beautiful. If I make any mistakes, you can set me straight. Heidi is here. So nice to see you, Heidi. Lori Elderkin, I think I said that before. She gets double notice. Sorba, Mary Monica. Jennifer Roberts, hello there. Nice to see you as well. Melanie Weissler, Lisa Love, Aaron Corbett. I think I said that twice. That's okay. K.W. Harris, looking like he's in great shape. I know he's working out. I'm back to training hard again too, K-Dub. Maybe I can get up into your level, maybe Jay Campbell level. I'm not sure, but we're going to do our best. Aaron Corbett's here. LaWanna Haney, very nice to see you. Blazing River, and the one, the only, Scotty Roberts. Let's see who else we got. Chris Jones, Miracle Babe, nice to see you. Desert Rose, back in the house. So nice to see that. KW Harris does a bicep shot. I'm not going to do mine because I think it'll make me look bad. But anyway, let's get back and talk about the Tuatha De Danann. These are the folk of New Cosmic Knowledge that we just read. Fan of Everything's also here. So the tribe of the gods, the Tuatha De Danann, the folk of the goddess Danu. And one of the things and again, we're talking about a goddess, breathing forth and bringing forth life makes much more sense to me. Because let's face it, dudes, we can't do this without the goddesses in our world. And I think that 2019, 2020 really is the year of the goddess. I'm personally trying to get myself to a place where my femininity, my sacred femininity is recognized. It is empowered. It's brought up to balance. We don't want to be too feminine. We don't want to be too masculine. We want to be right in the middle. And I recognize the duality within me between male and females and the sacred masculinity, sacred femininity. But we know, brothers and sisters, that it had to start with the goddess. The Tuatha De Danann brought in the concept of a pantheon, which goes through all other religions until Christianity said, nope, just one God. Wolf Weaver says, I'm speaking directly to him, she, them on this. But this is where it really starts to get interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because you know where the Tuatha De Danann, the Tuatha De, you know where they live? They live in this place called, wait for it, the other world. Dudes, are you kidding me? They live in this place that's called the other world. And the other world is the realm of the deities, the realm of the gods. And it's a supernatural realm, a realm of everlasting youth, beauty, health, abundance, joy. That's what we're all talking about. That's what we're all trying to get to. That's what we're all trying to ascend to. That's where we're all trying to go. And it's said that the underworld is elusive, but check this out, folks. Various people do visit it. Sometimes they visit it by chance. Sometimes they get invited by one of the residents of the other world. It's just like many of us on this channel have talked about having a out of dimension experience or having a pop into another realm. I remember I had a couple of them very, very recently where I literally was in another dimension for a time. And then I'm back in this dimension. So we know about this other world. It makes sense to us. It resonates with us. And again, the other world is entered a lot of times through mythical, or not through mythical, but through sacred places, ladies and gentlemen. Ancient burial grounds, caves, or check this out. Jeff, why do you dunk in freezing cold water every day? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of the times when people go to the other world, they do it by going underwater. And if that water's in Ireland, guess what? It's cold. Jeff, are you saying that you dunk underwater every day because you want to go into the other world? That's exactly what I'm telling you. I told you, remember when I started this and you all laughed at me, and Robert still does, that I'm crazy, but I told you I'm getting ready for after I die, when I leave this body. When you leave this body, can you imagine the shock? If you could think back to when you were born, you came out of your mother, and all of a sudden you're in this light, this heat, it must have been, that's why they all cry, most of them. And when I dunk into 38-degree water, it's a cacophony. It's an explosion. I mean, I can't even, my vocabulary fails me, because when you go under that water, it's just, everything just is, oh. And I remember the first time that I did it, I jumped in the water and I got out and I said a dirty word that rhymes with duck about 97 times in 3.4 seconds and kept saying it. I was completely out of control. But now, ladies and gentlemen, before it got warm, I was dunking. It would be 11, 12 degrees outside, snow. I break through the ice, literally with a shovel, break through the ice, dunk into water that's 20. The lowest I ever saw it was 28 degrees. I don't know how water's 28, but I go under the water, stay under there until I can't hold my breath anymore, come up just with my head and stay in there for 5 minutes and get out and could have a conversation just like this with you? How? When before you were saying bad word, bad word, bad word, bad word, like a crazy person, because you learn to control your emotions. You learn to control your physiology. You learn to control and let your spirit be in charge. And why are you saying all this? Because when you die, I think you're going to have something very, very similar to dunking into 28-degree water. An explosion, a cacophony of everything. And you've got to be able to center into your self, your divine, your sovereign, your free self, and say, okay, even though it's all going crazy around me, I'm still me, I'm still here, and I can still decide where I go, what I do. No forces, no entity, no nothing is going to drag me, push me, shove me, compel me. I'm still divine, I'm still sovereign, I'm still free, and I'm still going where I need to go. So when you get ready to go to the other world, or whatever you call it, to have this type of training under your belt is very, very beneficial. Are you saying, Jeff, that we should all dunk into? I'm saying you should. I know you won't, but I'm recommending it very, very strongly. And sometimes the other world, and this is so fascinating again, because it just parallels the science and the experience that we're having. Sometimes the other world is said to exist alongside our own world. And sometimes it intrudes into our world. Sudden changes in the weather, appearance of divine beings, appearance of unusual animals, a mist can show the blending or the thinning of the veil between two words. We've talked about this. People write me, people say in the chat room about these things happening. It's because they're real. This is a beautiful, much more cogent explanation of the world we live in than the thing that comes out of that Bible that we all thought was the bomb for so long, B-O-M-B. The other world does exist alongside our own. It's just another dimension. And sometimes there is an appearance of a divine being. Sometimes there is an unusual animal, unusual occurrence, an otherworldly woman. See? Why are you worried about your sacred feminine? That sounds gay. Don't you know you're a man? Come on, man up, boom. I do like to man up. I'm all about my sacred masculinity, but sometimes you want to have a balance all times of masculinity and femininity, because sometimes it's an otherworldly woman that's going to invite the hero into the other world. How about that? Sometimes it's a heroic man that'll invite you into the other world. You got to be ready. Infinite Life says Jeff wants to level up. Yes, he does. And check this out, folks. Jeff, I don't think you should say that Christianity stole it. Well, guess what is one of the prototypical ways that people get invited in the other world? By an apple. What did they try to grab in the Garden of Eden? An apple. Come on, folks. They stole it. They stole it from my forefathers, my foremothers. They stole it from my people. They stole it from me. I am of the Tuatha De Danann. And yeah, I'm kind of proud of it, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is it makes a lot of sense, ladies and gentlemen. They dwell in the other world. Oh, so amazing. And there's passages, ladies and gentlemen, passages to this other world. And you know what the Tuatha De Danann believed? They believed in this place called passage graves or passage tombs, large megalithic stones holding spiritual significance and showing and giving passage. Scotty Roberts is in the chat room. He was over in Egypt. I'm not so sure, Infinite Life, and I respect your opinion. The tree of life is a metaphor, not a literal tree. Probably yes and no. Probably yes and no. Probably yes and no. We were talking about that the other day. The axe is laid at the root of the trees. Yeah, yes and no. I'm pretty sure on that. Great statement, though. Great point. So there's a reason why the Tuatha De Danann, it covers the building of megalithic structures, because they're guide stones, they're entryways into other worlds, other dimensions, ladies and gentlemen. And it's also very interesting that the Tuatha De Danann have enemies. They have a group, ladies and gentlemen, of enemies. And they're called the Fomorians, or the Fomor. And they are hostile. They're monstrous. And they come from the sea or underground. Don't tell me that Christianity didn't hijack this. I see reptilian when I hear Fomorian or the Fomor. Some said they were even giants. Oh boy, is this where the Bible got their giants from? I think it is. Hostile, monstrous beings coming from the sea, coming from the other underground, giants. I'm telling you, folks, all the answers are here. Maybe life did begin in Ireland. Maybe the roots of all of our history do go back to Ireland. We were thinking Babylon. We're thinking Egypt. Maybe they go back to Ireland. I'm just saying, I'm just giving you things to think about. Let's run into the chat room, because I saw a lot of great stuff going on there, a lot of great words being brought up. And Scotty Roberts knows a lot about this. There's people in here that know a lot about this. So I want to go and bring out some of the comments. Ireland seems to play a huge part in our his story, says Nigel. I agree. Christianity, says Sorba, has stolen every tradition there is. Yes, they have. Aaron Corbett suggests that they're of the tribe of Dan. I don't think I would agree. I would agree with that right now, Aaron, but thank you for sharing, and it's certainly something to think about. Interesting. Tracy says oftentimes enemies come out of the north. Wow. Very, very interesting. Scotty Roberts thinks that the Tuatha De Danann had a huge literary influence on the work of Tolkien, which most Christians want to adopt as their own. Interesting. And Tracy asked the question that popped into my mind: how could they be of the tribe of Dan when they pre-existed Israel? Much more likely, the tribe of Dan hijacked the name from Danu, Diana, the great goddess. Jennifer Roberts says Christian religion is involved in thievery. Why? Never, of course. She has tongue pressed very firmly in cheek. She's being very, very sarcastic. Dolores says, right on, Jeff. I love it when you say that. Casey says we're missing the feminine element. We do need to work, I think, on manifesting and bringing and remembering and honoring the sacred feminine, but not to precede or supersede the sacred masculine, but to come into a balance. That's why, and I'm going to say it again, one of the things that makes me most proud about this channel is we're almost exactly 50% of the subscribers men, 50% of the subscribers women. I bet there's not another YouTube channel on the planet like that. So that gives me great, great pride, and I'm very, very honored. I told you women came first and you made jokes, Jeff, said Tracy Dyer. I do not recall that, Tracy. I do not recall making jokes when you said women came first. I don't recall, and if you can't prove it, it never happened. I really don't recall, but it's possible. I said a lot of things over the years that, well, let's just say that I've grown in that time. History prior to the Dark Ages is sketchy at best, says Aaron. No doubt about that. Karen Steele says, I heard a goddess landed there. Yes, we get more into this. It's said that the Tuatha De Danann, the people of goddess Danu, that they did come, Danu, came in ships, and not ships on the sea, but ships from the sky. And it's so funny because the Elohim came here and created all this, so they had to come from somewhere, right? How did they get here? Wolf Weaver says, I'm not sure if Wolf Weaver is a girl or a guy, but they can only connect to goddesses. Jason Rios, were we androgynous before separation? That doesn't resonate with me. But I'm not saying it's possible. And SMP, I'm not sure why you want to throw that in there. It makes no sense at all. Sperm looks like Yalda Bayoff. The egg looks like the sun, minding its own business. Cough, just saying, says Electromagnetica. She's right. She's right. Huge summer solstice energy. Womp today. Anyone else feeling it? I am. Thanks for reminding us. Jenny talked about the solstice. 25% discounts during the solstice. JennyMoonstone.com. What about banana-shaped earthers? I'm not sure what that means. I think that it might be time for a little timeout for the jokester, because this is serious business. I think you're onto something, Jeff. This construct is a copy of the real universe. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason has noticed hunter-gatherer groups that were more matriarchal. And when the switch came to agricultural, it went to patriarchal. That's a man that has done some, and that has some education. That's a, how did Doc Holliday put it? Why, look, darling, Johnny Ringo is an educated man. How I do hate him. But I don't hate you, Jason, but you are definitely an educated man. I love it. I love it. Letter shows your age. We have nasty thunderstorms. I'm not sure how that got in there. Sorry, I read before, Let's see. And all belief is wrapped around some kind of lie. Oh, that's great. Look at the word, folks, and you'll see what I mean. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Jeff, you're speaking directly to me. Thank you. Why is there always, I think Aaron means, why does there always have to be a deity? Couldn't it be a race of gods? Well, I don't like the word gods so much, Aaron, so I use the word deity. But when I'm talking about a race of deities, I'm talking about a race of gods. Or are you saying, why does there have to be one deity? Couldn't it be a race of gods? I couldn't agree with you anymore. Because until, humanity, and boy, we're all over the place. Humanity, and I have 2 years of university level anthropology. And anthropologically speaking, humans with a culture evolved enough to have religious beliefs been about 50,000 years. About 50,000 years that our culture's been developed enough to have religious beliefs. That's what most anthropologists will tell you. For 40,000 of those years, Aaron Corbett, it was gods, goddesses, polytheism. About 10,000 years ago, probably a little less in my opinion, came Zoroastrianism, came Judaism, kind of at the same time. And they came up with this idea of monotheism, only one God. It's not natural. It's Johnny come lately on the world scene. And yet, because we've lived in the 10,000 years of monotheism, and we lived in the West, that all of our 2,000 years has been right here in monotheistic thought. So to us, we think, oh, well, of course there's only one God. Duh. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid? It's just like Americans. We've been around a couple hundred years, and we want to tell the Europeans that have been around for thousands of years, God, what are you guys stupid? Don't you know we do it better over here? Well, we do some good things over here. I love my country, but we only been doing it for 200 years. They've been doing it a lot longer, and they got some pretty good ideas over there. They really do. So to think that monotheism is naturally the way is to be ignorant, is to be uneducated, and is to really be just look dumb. Because 40,000 years of human culture, polytheistic, 8, 9, 10,000 years monotheistic. But of course, it's because we're right and everybody was wrong back then. You can believe that. You can believe that. I have a hard time believing that. I really do. I have a hard time believing that. The circle's coming right back around to reset, says Jennifer. I think Jennifer Constantine was talking about that yesterday, talking about resets in the cycle. Pat Blanco is Irish. Okay. Love Irish mythology, says Robert Vandergrift. Somehow roller derby got into the discussion. The Tuatha De Danann look Aryan, a.k.a. the originals from the north. The Celts were serious about the other worlds. They'd pay debts when they got there, that type of stuff. Jeff, what if the people who they call gods and goddesses are just future time travelers who go back in time? That's interesting. I'm working on a project right now that postulates that God of the Bible, God, is not supernatural at all, but a being that simply possessed superior technology and because of that looked like a god. So basically what I'm saying is God is only God because he has a starship. Anyway, certainly something to think about. The Irish referred to them as the tall, shining kings from heaven, says Scotty Roberts. And they did. Awesome Wizard. Thank you, Lori Steck. Glad to get to know more of Irish mythology, says Heidi. Glad to be of service. Cold showers are therapeutic. Perhaps we live in the other worlds at the same time we live here. To us in the other worlds, this is the other world. Ooh, that's interesting. No, you're not on timeout, Lucky. And it's interesting. We're talking about the Tuatha De Danann and Lucky, or Truth Frequency News. Her little meme is like a leprechaun sort of thing. So there's that. I like it. Electra Magnetica has a picture of a real fairy. Electra, I would love to see that. Gotham LTD at gmail.com, or just go to jeffreydarty.com and connect with me through the website. I'd love to see that picture. Love to see that picture. Seeing if we got any other brilliance right here that's applicable brilliance. Wolf says the lack of a sacred feminine seemed a little gay to me. No offense to anyone. The lack of a sacred feminine. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. String theory. It's easy to slide in and out of dimensions, says Fan of Everything, in between intersecting timelines. It's not simple. It's not hard. It's pure energy. It equals frequency. Good stuff. Tracy Dyer says the Old Testament is a mix of other mythologies, changed names and places to fit their culture. Absolutely. Robert Vandergrift again correctly says that Christianity stole damn near everything from the pagan cultures they wiped out, including our Welsh and Irish ancestors. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Scotty Roberts says when Moses first codified Judaism, he invented it from whole cloth, and he did. Very well stated. Very well stated. Very well stated. I used to study the Barrow tombs of the British Isles. Love to take a look at that. Love to take a look at that. Stonehenge, yes. Funny how Heidi says this, and it resonates with me what she's saying here. Funny how you can feel deeply of your ancestors. It is ingrained in your DNA. I used to be one race, she says, then found out I was adopted, and I wasn't surprised of what she found out she really was after DNA testing. Scotty Roberts has done DNA testing. Desert Rose said that her son was in Baghdad, felt dark energy. You remember I interviewed a guy that had an encounter with a jinn in Baghdad. Travis, how do I forget Travis's last name? Scotty, what's Travis's last name? I just completely spaced. Thorpe. Travis Thorpe was over in Afghanistan, has encounters with the jinn and other supernatural creatures over there as well. Yes, very, very powerful stuff. I love this. We're getting a lot of great stuff from the chat room. And my chat jumped on me, so I want to go back and see where I was. Dadgummit. The divine must level out each other and complement each other. Absolutely. Absolutely. And doesn't it make sense since Christianity for 2,000 years has succeeded in putting down the goddesses, and now it's so male energy on this earth, and that's why we're just killing people left and right. We've got to get ourselves, fighter lines are from County Cork. I'm from County Donegal. Convenient memory loss. Absolutely. I don't think our spirit has a sex, do they? I do, Jaylene. I do. For some reason, I do. I do. Heidi says, even managing that balance through different life experiences. Yes, very good. I have looked into Zoroastrianism. There's many warrior princes in mythology. Yes, there are. Just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't be badass. It's true. It's true. There's some badass girls around. Trust me. According to Labor Gabala Aaron, the book of the taking of Ireland, the recounting the mythical origins and the history of the Irish was from the creation of the world down to the Middle Ages. The Tuatha descended in dark clouds and landed on the mountain in Connacht, bringing a darkness over the sun for 3 days and 3 nights. That sounds familiar. Boom. I like it. I like it. Monotheism is really henotheism. Our God is better than yours. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. These so-called gods have preyed and loosed off humanity for eons, and their lease is up. That's true. Yes and no. Mary, I think that there are some gods. I mean, let's think about it. Let's say that you're a god, right? And you make these people, or you're part of making these people, and all of a sudden they're like worshiping you. You're like, ooh, this is kind of cool. And they keep worshiping, you keep thinking it's cool, and they keep worshiping, and you think it's cool for something like, no, we're just like you. No, it's okay, but they keep worshiping, and you're like, damn, this is kind of cool. So, a few thousand years go by, and you're a god, so it doesn't really mean that much to you, but they're worshiping you, and they're like, oh crap, these guys now really think we're like gods. So I think there's gods out there, gods and goddesses that are benevolent towards us, even ones that have been looshing off of us for eons, even ones that have been letting us worship them, because it's kind of cool to be worshiped. But they too know that what's gone on in this realm right now is broken. They know that this God that's in charge of this domain right here, right now, who's built this fear and guilt control matrix, they know he's a wreck. They know he's got to go. But they can't do it because we have to. We're here to learn our divinity, our sovereignty, our freedom. We're here to say, okay, you screwed up. You got to go. We've been crying for 2,000 years. Why won't God do something? Look in the mirror and ask that question. Why won't God do something? You're God. You got to do something. What are you saying, Jeff? I'm saying that we have to realize we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. And we have to kick this failed, phony God out of control. And I'm saying that there's a lot of other gods and goddesses out there that know better than we do how much he screwed up, and they're willing to help us. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them out there that are willing to help us. So what am I saying? I'm saying it's time to form a coalition of free humans and benevolent gods. That's what we call them, deities. And it's time for a coup. It's time for a coup. And as Jenny and I said yesterday, I don't think there'd ever be a war. Because as soon as we wake up and decide to say, hey, come on, gods and goddesses, help us out, we will approach this pipsqueak of a God, and I think he's already gone, but we'll approach whoever's in charge now with such a massive force that they'll wet themselves and run. And then We can take over and, well, what if we don't do as good? Well, we can't do any worse than what's been done to us for 2,000 years. And if we can get ourselves balanced in our masculinity and our femininity, we can get gods and goddesses helping us. We can get it done. That's why I'm talking about the Tuatha De Danann. I think they want to help. I am encouraging you to go to your hearts, your spirits, your souls, whatever you call it. Heidi says they call to you, and she's right. What God's call to you? When you close your eyes, what God's call to you? Return the call. Get in touch with your ancient, primordial spirituality. Get in touch with who you are and get in touch with the gods of your old world and your old days, and get in touch with the gods of your spiritual spring. And then we cobble together a coalition and we take back this thing. That's what we do, ladies and gentlemen. My hypocrisy only goes so far. That's the truth. What does God need with a starship? Well, evidently, the only way that this God, and maybe that's another play on words, another lesson in life from Captain Kirk. Of course, a real God doesn't need a starship, but everything this God, that the God of the Bible's done, he did with a starship, with technology. What does God need with a starship? Not a real God. Just saying. Just saying. I've been watching Outlander on Netflix. Interesting stuff. Alien channelers say that almost all the prophets never wanted to be worshipped. Jaylene, you kind of lost me at alien channelers. I'm sorry. I just have a real hard time with channelers. I really, really do. Heidi reminds us of the Dogon tribe in Africa. Says their gods come from Sirius too. Are you serious? Yep. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Fractals. Tall, shining kings. Lost the war with humans and were driven into the hollow hills and became known as the fairy folk. Scotty, how could they lose to humans? How could they lose to humans? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, Danny boy. The pipes are calling. Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Jeff, there were other forces at play. That's how they lost to humans. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. They had enemies who were called the Formor, harmful, destructive powers. But the Tuatha De defeated them. Even as we're talking about, they defeated these beings at a battle. Mog Tarid, I'm sure I said it wrong, but they defeated these powers. I don't think that we'd even have a battle. I really don't think that we would have a battle. And here's another thing that I like about the Tuatha De Danann. Each one of the Tuatha De has associations with a particular feature of life or nature. How about that? Connected to nature, connected to life, connected to reality. I love it. It's fantastic. And often they have more than one association. But the problem is that most of Irish mythology was recorded by Christian monks who modified it. That's the problem. They want to tell us that the Tuatha De were just kings and queens and heroes of the past. They want to tell us they're fallen angels. Oh, imagine that. Christians want to tell us that our gods are fallen angels. But, ladies and gentlemen, non-Christian medieval writers acknowledged that they were gods. The Christians, they're just kings, queens, heroes. They're just fallen angels. But many medieval writers outside of the Christian realm said that they indeed were gods. And it appears, folks, that they are immortal as well, just like we'll be one of these days. I'll leave you with just a few of their names. See if these resonate with you. The Daugherty. That's the father figure. Where did they? I've heard that before somewhere. Oh, yeah. The father figure, the chieftain. Oh, and it sounds so much like this phony Yahweh. He's associated with fertility, agriculture, manliness, strength. He has control over life and death. Come on, man. They copied it word for word. They weren't even sly about it. They just copied it. And he's often described as a large bearded man. Come on, man. Really? Really? Oh, you can't make this up. They're just that bad. They've copied it all. And then there were the Morrigan. The Morrigan. The queen. That's the one that's been forgotten. And there's a reason why I think patriarchal religion has forgotten the Morrigan. Great queen. War in queen. The original princess warrior. The original queen warrior. Why do they want to suppress the sacred feminine? Oh, because the sacred feminine makes us want to rock the babies. Yeah, that's true. The sacred feminine wants us to be sweet and nice and loving. That's true. The sacred feminine is all about love. Sacred feminine is all about kindness. That's true. But there's another part of sacred femininity that we forget about. But the Morrigan reminds us that not only is sacred femininity all of those soft things, but the Morrigan, she gives encouragement to have victory over your enemies. She gives the encouragement to do brave deeds. She strikes fear into the heart of your enemies. She's most often seen as a goddess of battle and war. And guess what she's all about? Sovereignty. She's the guardian of sovereignty. So there's more than what they don't want to just keep down sacred feminine so we're not touchy-feely. They want to keep down sacred feminine so we don't realize we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. There's more to these goddesses. They were badass. They're about sovereignty. I want the Morrigan on my side every day. And by the way, the Morrigan also have sexual relationships with the Daugherty. So, how'd you like to hang out with some tough, hot chicks? I'm just saying. We need more women like that. The Lug. Warriors, kings, master craftsmen, skill, mastery, arts, truth, law, oaths. Nuada. Great first king. Angus. Youth, love, poetry, inspiration. Brigid. The daughter of Daugherty. Manannan. Sea goddess. Dion Kecht, and I know I'm saying these names horribly wrong. These names call to me. Gorbinu, hospitality, Lugus, Nodens, Brigantia, Turin, Tyrannus, Ogma, Ogmios, Bogd, Kath, Bodua. And to Scotty Roberts' point, the Tuatha De have become the fairies or the fae folk. I don't know if they have or not, but I know this encourages me because it means they are not gone, ladies and gentlemen. They are not gone. They are the AOC, the supernatural Irish race that live underground in fairy mounds across the Western Sea, who coexist with us in a parallel universe. And just wait for us to call. I'm adding this in. Wait for us to call for their assistance in taking back that which is ours, ladies and gentlemen. This speaks to me. And the leprechauns, they were some badasses. And Scotty, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I think it's true from the little bit of reading I've done in it. The leprechauns were not like the Lucky Charms guy. They weren't little, cute little guys. The leprechauns were actually big and strong dudes. I mean, the leprechaun on American Gods says that General Mills, he says, because he's big and tall, and they always say, I thought leprechauns were small. He says, that's a gross stereotype. And that it was General Mills that gave us the leprechaun that we think about today, and they're really not small like that. But ladies and gentlemen, my God's call to me, they're waiting for me to answer. Nigel says, yes, they were big fellas. Would you stop and listen? Leprechauns are fearsome, says Scotty Roberts. Will you stop and listen? Delaney says the true leprechauns were Africans called the TWA people. You never know if Delaney's pulling your leg or not, but I hope Delaney listens and listens for the call of her gods. I hope Becca and Scotty and all the rest of you will listen for the call of your gods. Hope Cynthia will listen for the call of her gods. And then we can decide where we go from there. I'm listening. I'm already in contact. I know they want to help. I know they're waiting to help. And I know that we've got to take the lead if we're going to do the deed. So once again, we come down to me asking you to subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell. Make sure you're still subscribed. But once again, we come down to the place where we are the last generation of real humans. GMOs, chemtrails, vaccinations, food, soil. We're the last generation of real humans. And history is written by the winners. And sometimes history can be written in advance. It's called prophecy. I say let's get busy. And if history is written by the winners, let's get busy winning, winning, winning. Winning today so that together we can write a better tomorrow. The gods are with me. How many of you are with me? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll see you again real soon.